friends, and welcome to your very first art class of the 2021 school year. I hope you had a great weekend and you're looking forward to getting busy and getting creative. Today we're going to explore sketchbooks and how to use them. We're going to create our own. We're going to look at other artists and how they've used them. But first, we want to start our class with a mantra. And a mantra is a way for us to kind of prepare ourselves to do something. So you can create a different mantra for different things that you might be doing. So today our mantra is going to be, and you can repeat after me, I am smart, I am strong, I have a big imagination, and I can create. And now we are ready to get started and get creative and learn about sketchbooks. So here we go. So hopefully most of you have picked up your art pack, which just has a few things in it. More things will be coming, but this will get us started for the first 2 weeks. But what I want to do now is share with you some information about sketchbooks and have a look at different artists and their sketchbooks. So here we go. I hope I can share my screen with you. It's taking me just a minute. We are all learning. There we go. So, hopefully I can get this right. There we go. Sorry guys, that took me a minute. Hopefully I'll get better at that. So, sketchbooks. We also have some learning targets that we like to use to help focus our learning and kind of figure out what we are going to be learning about today. So our learning targets for today are: 1, I can create a sketchbook using a tool to share and create ideas. And number 2 is I can create a unique cover that expresses what is important to me. So those are more or less the 2 of the things that we're going to be really focusing on today. So artists use sketchbooks for all different reasons. And maybe right now you could think of a few and you could either write them down, or if you have a parent or grandparent or whoever's sitting next to you, a stuffed animal, you can tell them some of the reasons why artists might use a sketchbook. I know one reason I use a sketchbook is to plan out ideas for like a big project. What do you think you might be using your sketchbook for? Probably all different reasons and ideas. Some people draw a lot in them, and some people write a lot in them. Some people do a combination of both, and we're going to have a look at that. So everyone has heard of Disney World or has seen maybe a Walt Disney movie. Well, this, friends, is Walt Disney right here. And you can see he's holding some of his sketches. And this is an example of a sketchbook that he used to create Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Because way back when, folks that did animation did not use a computer. They used drawings. And you can see here how he has planned out what Snow White and some of the dwarves were looking like, and some of the notes that he added to help create his ideas. Vincent van Gogh is another really famous artist that you may have learned about. He created the Starry, Starry Night, which we have seen a lot. Recently, one of his sketchbooks in 2016 was found by someone, and it's amazing some of the things that you can find in it. Here's one page I found on the internet, and here's a painting that he did of sunflowers. So here you can see he's sketching out his composition or his idea of how he wants to create this beautiful painting. These are sketchbooks by Jean-Michel Basquiat. And it's interesting here, if you look at this one's just on lined notebook paper. So some artists have really fancy sketchbooks, and some artists have sketchbooks that they just use like a notebook. And here is an example of one of his ideas or thoughts that he was having about himself and art in general. This is a recent artist, Lisa Cogden. She lives in Portland, Oregon. And here you can see she has combined writing into her sketchbook. This might even be a book that she has used and recycled to be used as a sketchbook. And she's just done some drawings on top of it. I really like this page in her sketchbook because I have a feeling after you read this quote, where there is ruin, there is hope for treasure. Now, when we think of something that's ruined, we think of something that's, messed up or we can't use it anymore. But what I want you to understand is that there are no real mistakes when you're creating art. So maybe she was getting ready to do something and all of a sudden she dropped some watercolor paint. So then she just went with it and she created this whole idea of this page in her sketchbook. Or she could have drawn all these beautiful, intricate flowers, and then she was going to do some watercolor and she dropped some watercolor on it. I'm not sure, but look at what she did. She created something as equally as beautiful as if she hadn't made a watercolor blob on it. So in our class, we just have one sketchbook rule, and that is please don't tear pages out. Use so-called mistakes to make something beautiful and unique. You can see here too that in this artist's sketchbooks, maybe they made a mistake somewhere, right? And then they just used that so-called mistake and made something beautiful. So please make sure that you continue to use that page and don't tear it out or do a big scribble over it or anything like that, but just keep using it. All right, so let's unpack our bag here, our art pack bag. All right, so this week, everyone's art pack bag is the same, right? You can just put that bag aside and you could actually use that for another project if you wanted on your own, but you can just put it aside. And you can make this bag into anything. We have 2 sheets of paper in here, and they are more or less important to each other. So this is something we're going to be using for our Square One art project. And so I'm going to ask you maybe just to store that in your paper bag until we're ready to use it. You can see it's kind of curly, right? Which is not a big deal. Just don't fold it in half or anything like that and put a crease into it. All right. So the other thing we find is this kind of stack of paper, and hopefully you haven't taken the paper clip off, but you can see it's filled with a bunch of pages. Oops, this one has some pencil on it, but I'm not going to worry about it because I can always create something out of that. So you have this stack of paper and you have a rubber band. So the materials I'm going to need for this project right now are my scissors and my pencil and my eraser. And that will help me get started. All right? So here we go. I'm going to look at this and I'm going to keep my paper clip on because that's going to kind of help us line up our holes. But you can see how this one's just a little bit messy. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my pencil and carefully kind of just put that in and twirl it around just like that. So now it's a little bit cleaner. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my rubber band and I'm going to cut it so that it becomes one long piece. right? Just like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread it through the hole. Now, if you have some trouble with that, one thing I like to do is take my pencil and just kind of, I can help shove it through with my pencil. I'm just going to pull it a little bit. I'm not going to pull it all the way. Now I'm going to do the same thing to this hole up here. I'm going to just pull it just like that. Now I'm not going to pull it super tight. You see how it's just kind of there? All right. Now I'm going to flip it over. And you see these two little like arms here. Hello, how are you? All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie those together, but not super tight. I mean, just so that it kind of rests. Now, you might need a little bit of hand in this, but I think you guys can do it. Remember to be brave and strong. All right, here we go. Whoops. So, I have that tight. Now, you know why I love this type of sketchbook so much? Because we can untie this later and add more pages if we wanted to. So that's kind of cool. Now I'm ready to take my paper clip off. I can put it in my paper bag, and maybe we can save it for a future project. So if you remember now, our first learning target was we can create a sketchbook to use for our ideas and our drawings. So we've done that. So check. Our second learning target was to create a front cover that helps express things that we like. Now, there's two things that I want you to make sure you put on your sketchbook. Can you guess what they might be? Are you thinking? Well, I know what they are. Marcel, what are you doing here? I thought we could use some help. All right. Well, what do you think you can put on your front cover? The important things to put on your front cover. Well, how about my height? No, you don't need the height of yourself on your front cover. My address? No, you don't have to put your address. How about your name? Oh yeah, my name. So I'm going to make my sketchbook and I'm going to put my name. Now you could make it the most important thing on here if you wanted, or you can make it small and save this for a large picture. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make it kind of big. And you could just do it in, thin letters, or you could do it in thick letters. The one thing I want you to make sure you do is that you draw lightly until you're ready to make it really, really stand out. Because it's much easier to erase a light line than it is a dark line, obviously. So, my name is Miss Krista, so I'm going to write Krista. And I'm just going to keep going, and I will continue to write my full name. Now, one way I love to make thick letters is if I make a skinny letter, and if I just draw around it like this, that helps me make a thick letter. Let me show you with the S, because an S can be kind of tricky. So here's an S, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a line like that, and then I'm going to draw carefully following the S. I'm going to make another line, and I'll follow the other side of my S. There. Now I've made a thick letter S. And then I've got to make a T. And then I have to make the letter A. And again, I'm going to show you is a thin letter because an A has a little tail on it. What I'm going to do is make the inside, And then I'm going to make the outside. And here is my letter A. Now, if I wanted to, I could go back and I could erase the insides of these letters. But I kind of like it like that. So I'm just going to leave it. So what else do we got to put on the sketchbook? Well, I think a helpful thing is to put our grade. So what grade are you in? Grade? Well, what grade are you in? Well, I'm a teacher, so here we go. You just think about what grade you're in, and you put it somewhere in the corner, nice and big, so I can see it. Okay. Well, how about I'm in kindergarten? Sounds good. So up here, what I'm going to do for kindergarten is put KG. Just like that. Now I have all this space here to create what I want. Well, what's it going to make? Well, I think I'm going to try to make a rainbow because I've been really loving rainbows lately. Rainbows? Yes, rainbows. So I'm just going to draw here some nice curved lines and create that as a rainbow. Right? Now just keep going. Now, does it look like a rainbow yet? No. Looks like a bunch of lines to me. Well, I'm going to show you what you can do now to help create that rainbow effect. So, you should have all of your other supplies in your box, or something that you have that you're going to be using. I'm going to take out my crayons, and that's what I'm going to use to help create my color on here. I could also use markers, and sometimes what I like to do is outline things in marker, and then color it in with crayon. So if I outlined my rainbow first with red, that tells me I'm going to find my red crayon, and I am going to color this first part in red. You don't have to do it this way. It's just an idea. Sometimes when you outline something in marker, it just makes it a little bit more bold. So I'm going to continue to create a bunch of other ideas on here. I could make my favorite food. I could draw a picture of my dog. I could make some mountains because I live in the mountains. You just want to think about the things that you really, really love, and that's what you want to put on your front cover. Do you think you could also design your back cover? Yes. The answer is yes. You can make a front cover and a back cover. That is no problem. All right? So that's what we're working on today, and I'm going to check in with you to see how that's going a little bit later in the week. So we are going to end our lesson today with some mindfulness. And what is mindfulness? Mindfulness means you're really paying attention to something, and that you're slowing down, and you're not rushing, and you're really taking your time, and you're focusing in a relaxed and easy way. So we can all kind of just focus here on this elephant, all right? And this is what I want you to do. I want you to sit up tall, take in a long breath, and let it all the way out. Hold your body really still and listen. What do you hear? Close your eyes for a minute so you can really focus. What sounds are around you? If you listen even more, what do you hear? Take a long breath in and let it all the way out. Friends, I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for creating with me and with Marcel, and I look forward to seeing you again next Monday. Take care and be well.